Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Spiritual Journey podcast. My name is Nimesh and I'm your host. I always love starting every episode by saying thank you. I feel so blessed with this podcast, the impact it has, the people it reaches. I started as a passion project many years ago, and when I say many years ago, it's just under six. I started with maybe a couple of episodes, an episode every month. Now I do two a week. And I really started it as a passion project. My objective was to simplify spirituality and guide people on their journey. And honestly, when I started, I was like, well, is anyone really going to listen? And I trusted, I trusted. I got nudged and I trusted. And today's a special episode. Today's episode 400. I'll dive deeper into what I'm going to talk about through this episode. And yes, it is another solo episode. Stacey's been having some technical issues with her. Actually, it turns out to be a Wi-Fi. So we've done so much. She ended up buying a new Mac and trying so many different things with her network provider, which I won't name, but she has actually changed her network provider this weekend. We did a little test, and I think she'll be back this week. So looking forward to that. So you have another solo episode from me, and quick intro for me. I'm an Akashic record reader, Akashic trainer, a podcast host, and also a spiritual coach and mentor. And what I love to do is I get to work with people one-to-one. I really guide them on the journey. I help people to understand their purpose on this planet in terms of what you're here to do at a soul level, and releasing all the layers and truly understanding who you are. I feel like we're all going through so much. I'm going to release this on Monday, the 10th, after the energy of the peak of Lionsgate, a couple of days before the beginning of the Eclipse season. So I love what I get to do, and it's a beautiful time to really guide people because I feel like we're all going through a shift. So if my voice resonates and you're looking for a guide to help you on this journey, then let me know. And actually, as this episode 400, I thought I'd do a promo. So if you are looking for a mentor, then I'm happy to give a discount for anyone that reaches out after this episode. Happy to give a 10% discount on mentorship, 10% discount, whatever you want. If you want Akashic record reading, Akashic training, I normally don't discount stuff. So if you've been waiting, especially with mentorship, because I'm now including Akashic training too as a promo, so you have 14 weeks for the price of 12, plus a 10%. Maybe it's a perfect time to reach out. But I really want to dive into this week's topic. I'm excited, episode 400, and it's really been a journey, right? I feel so blessed with it. And like I said, when I started, really, I didn't really have a clear objective apart from just, I got a message through the Akashic Records that my voice is my gift and I should use it. And I followed that nudge. I named it, I'm sure after lots of you know, I named it after my mentor, my friend, Sidra Jeffrey, who was my mentor, my friend, she left this realm in a fire. And when I was thinking about the topic today and the current energy and what I wanted to share, I really want to dive deep into this journey was always back to you. I want to dive back because it's like I was contemplating on the journey with this podcast, but also my own journey. In terms of everything I've been through this phase, right? 400 episodes. I started this in October 2020. My mentor, my friend, had left this realm in March 2020. She'd become a spiritual guide. And really, my life has changed so much. And in so many parts because of this podcast. Also through Akashic Records and Sidra leaving this realm and becoming a guide. I was in the corporate space. It's interesting on this spiritual journey, and it's like where we look for the answers and where we go searching for who we really are on this journey. But I've found, and by the way, I've got a cough, so if I do cough in the middle, I apologize. Well, it is what it is. I'm a human journey too, right? But it's interesting on this journey, right? And I've done it too. Ultimately, it is all about us. And I feel like this energy that we're going through right now and what we're going to experience through the eclipse is really a journey back to who we are at soul level. We're not going back to anybody because whoever we used to were, that version of us doesn't exist anymore. But I feel like we're kind of discovering who we are more at a soul level. I feel like the eclipse energy is going to force us to release the final things we're holding on to. And if we don't, then I feel like we're going to get pushed and nudged to really do that. So, as I talk about the journey back to you, what I mean is you at a soul level. When a lot of the time when people begin their spiritual journey, and even now, a lot of people, it's like, what's the first thing you do when you have a question? Do you look inside for your answers or do you look outside? And even those that I mentor and I guide and hold space for, etc., I'll always encourage them to reach inside first. Check with you. 100% you can check with me or you can check on, AI or Google or whatever after, or talk to whoever you want to. But you're such a powerful channel. So, when I say back to you, what I mean by is trusting you. If you listen to this, you're a powerful being. You're meant to be here on this planet. You were selected to be part of this journey the planet's going through. And I'm sure there's people listening thinking, well, he's not really talking to me. I'm actually 100% talking to you. And I encourage you through this eclipse season to tap into your own soul. Tap into the energy and the vibration of who you are at your core. And how do you do that? Spend time with you. Spend time in meditation, spend time in nature. Again, like I say, actually, this is like the fifth, I think it's the fifth solo episode I've done in a row. Obviously, there's guest episodes in the middle, but I feel like my energies, my detail that I've been channeling feels very aligned in the way that you are your own teacher. You are your own guide, your own, of course, you can work with people like me to guide you, to hold your space, but I'm going to hold your space to help you to understand who you are. And that's what a good guide should do. Never tell, from my own perspective, I would say never tell you what to do, but intuitively guide you to you, because you're a powerful being. I always ask people to, a lot of people say that things like, everything in your external is a result of your internal, and it is. But when you take that further, and if you look at the people in your world, they are doing exactly what you asked them to do at a soul level. That's what a soul contract looks like. So if you look at everybody in your world, what are they teaching you? Look at all the 5 top people in your world, or whatever number that may be. And if you think of yourself as the main character in the movie, the superhero, actually, I just watched the new Spider-Man movie. I loved it. But it's like, if you think of yourself as that superhero in the movie, and you look at the people in your world, and you really ask yourself, what is this person? What's my soul contract with this person? What are they here to teach me? Because the people in your world, in many ways, are your biggest teachers. Yes, there may be a soul contract to love you. There may be a soul contract to expand you, to push you, but they are. If everything in your external world is here to teach you something, that means the people in your world are teaching you something. And I feel like for a lot of us, the people in our world, I do feel like we've come to the end of the soul contract. I do feel like, you've either already changed a lot of people in your world, or you've learned everything you're supposed to from some of the people in your world. And when you ask yourself that question, what is this person here to teach me? And you ask yourself, well, hold on, is my soul contract with this person done? Have I learned everything I'm supposed to from this person? I was talking to a friend earlier today about blood family. I always remind people, and it's hard, right? Because our programming says our parents should love us. Our siblings should love us. Our programming says, our blood family should love us, should really love us. Maybe teach us too, but definitely love us. But that's not true for everybody. Our blood family, all of them are here to teach us something. Sometimes to love too. Maybe the love's different than you expected it to be, but they're definitely here to teach you something. So, along with looking at the main people in your world, if your blood family are a big part of your world, make sure you challenge yourself there too. And maybe it's time to take your power back and not give your power away to so many people. This is a time where you need to accept that you need to be seen, you need to be heard, and you need to speak your truth. And I know for so many of us, we want to know what this phase is meant to mean. What is the destination? We've been through so much. I feel like, we've been through so many closing karmic cycles, ancestral and personal. And then, I feel like a lot of us are fighting right now our expectation of where we feel we should be. And really, the answer is to take one step at a time and to focus on the moment. But that's hard. In this human life, what have we done? We've planned everything, right? We kind of laid out what the next step should be and all that. And I'm not telling you not to manifest. Go and manifest as much as you want, but let go of how your manifestation is going to come through. I always love the phrase, what if, I love it when what I want doesn't come through, because it means whatever God wants for me to comes through. And what if the universe, God, source, whatever you want to call it, has such bigger plans for you than you can ever imagine? And what you've been asked to do is to have faith, is to trust in this next step. And to realize maybe you're holding on to people, to things that you used to love. But this new version of you is different. This version of you maybe needs a different set of people around you to hold your space. And a lot of the time we hold on to things because we don't want to create the vacuum in our world, because that vacuum makes us feel uncomfortable. But I love the phrase, nature abhors a vacuum. If you're not happy with something in your world, then the answer is in you. And sometimes it involves making tough decisions to let go of the things that no longer serve. And that's what I feel this phase is going to be pushing us to do. And you know what? We've done so much healing. So maybe you've released so much. Maybe your friend circle's gone so small. Maybe you've taken your power back in so many different ways. But if there was one thing you've been holding on to, what is that one thing? And if it makes you feel uncomfortable letting it go, but actually if it makes you feel it's right, then I would encourage you to do it. This is you needing to get to know you and coming back to you at a soul level. This shift that, every spiritual teacher's been talking about is, kind of, I feel like it's what we do now sets a course in motion, sets what the next few years are going to be like for. But I feel like this shift the planet's going through isn't like a light switch. Isn't, everyone talks about, the Lionsgate portal and a great time to manifest, and it is. And then everyone talks about eclipse season and kind of the shifts that, and 100%. But what's your destination? Where are you trying to get to? The thing to always remember is your soul chose to have a human experience. And that human experience is in the moment. It's not in a destination. And sure, there's lots of phrases, it's not about the destination, about the journey, 100%, and it is. But you have to focus on the moment to see the magic and to feel the magic. And if you're feeling uncomfortable right now through this phase, and if you're saying to yourself, when this phase finishes, that's when I can really start to do the work, or I can really feel more comfortable. There is no after this phase. There is only now. It's like, I feel like the universe really wants us to declutter our world to get ready for this next phase. So my message to you as I talk to you about getting back to you at a core soul level, I'm also asking you, what else needs to be released? What else do you need to let go of? are you waiting to get somewhere? Do you feel like, you should be somewhere, you should be a different place, or, after all the healing, you should be. Because that's the thing that we do when we go through this healing journey is like, we feel like there's going to get to a point where all the healing's done and, all we're going to do is have an amazing, amazing life. And the reality is we chose this human experience. And for me, I guess a different way of saying it rather than always healing is I'm always going to be a student. And what that means is I'm always going to be learning. I'm always going to expand it. And sure, maybe that means I'm always healing too. And the reality is if you listen to this, then your soul chose a very expansive, challenging life. And, I'm sure that for some of you, you look around, you look at the people in your world and you ask, why do they have it so easy and I don't? I have two answers to that really. One is you don't really know what they're going through because, you see, online or in person, you have a view of what somebody's life's like. You don't always know what they're going through. And if you're really close to them, maybe you know everything. But you don't, there's always certain elements that maybe you don't know. And the second thing is your soul and how much you've chosen to grow in this lifetime is unique to you. It's like if you think of yourself as the black sheep of the family, black sheep to me means actually you chose to lead your family line. Doesn't mean that you're the oldest or whatever that means. It means that you chose to go through some really deep lessons to heal not just your own karma, but also ancestral. That's what leading the family line. Look, that's what the black sheep means. It means you're not meant to fit in. But it also means that you're going to grow through this journey at a human and a soul level, at such a deeper level. And I get, okay, sometimes that's painful. I talk to my clients all the time about being the expander. I feel like so many of us are meant to be here as the bridge or the expander. And the role of the expander is really you're not necessarily here to be loved. And one of the core human needs is love. But if you're here to expand people, if you're here and you don't, you always wanted to fit in, but you don't fit in, then you're an expander. It means you're here to break the mold. And in many ways, people are going to challenge you. Because our programming says that we're meant to follow. So it means that, so many people potentially do lead a program life. I do feel like more and more people are breaking free from that, but that's probably a whole different episode. But again, if you're listening to this, you're here to break the mold. You're here to expand. So it does mean that you'll push people's buttons. But as you learn to grow and understand this journey, you don't always need to push people's buttons with anger, with emotion. Sometimes you push people's buttons by saying nothing. Sometimes you push people's buttons by being you, by setting an example. I had a conversation with a friend recently about, because my story and my journey, for many years ago, if you haven't heard, 20 years ago, so I experienced some dark magic. And I've worked through that, and I worked through it. And I remember talking to my mentor, my friend Sidra, about it. And that dark magic was a soul contract. I wouldn't be here spiritually having this conversation if I hadn't experienced that dark magic 20 years ago. But secondly, I've always felt that whoever keeps their energy highest wins. So if you're meant to experience some dark magic, some really deep soul contracts that are meant to cause you pain, that is part of your human journey. And, as you expand, as you speak your truth, as you shine your light, You may experience some jealousy. There may be some energy and vibration from those around you that want to keep you stuck. This is why I go back to that. Really checking with yourself about the people in your world. Do they lift you up or do they drain you? And sometimes people hold you back and they don't even know they're doing it. Because if you start shining your light unconditionally, you raise your vibration, something inside them knows that you may raise your vibration to a point where they're no longer in your world. But at the same time, if people are meant to be in your world, as you raise your vibration, they will raise theirs too. And yeah, I said at the beginning that, this is a journey back to you at a soul level. There's no back to a previous version of you. Remember, I'm using my words very carefully. That previous version of you that maybe you look through rose-tinted glasses, that version of you doesn't exist. As at a human level, all that exists is this current version. But when you release the layers and you get back to who you are at a core soul level, that's new. Maybe in this human version, you've never experienced this version of you. But I feel like this eclipse season is going to show you more and more who you are at a soul level. There's a journey to get there, right? There's no, like I said, there's no light switch you can switch on and all of a sudden it comes clear. Sometimes we wait for this big epiphany, this big flash in the sky. Sometimes some people get that, right? There is these massive shifts. But a lot of the time, the big, massive breakthroughs come through little breakthroughs. So what are you waiting for? Are you waiting for a massive breakthrough? Are you appreciating the magic on a day-to-day basis? And yeah, 100%. This is a time to look for communities, spaces that hold your energy and vibration different. 100%. If you feel like you could do with a spiritual guide, a teacher, someone to hold your space. Again, always check with your intention. If your intention is to be fixed, or if your intention is to get some kind of destination, then maybe check in with your intention. If your intention is to really understand you at a deeper level, and you're willing to do the work to really kind of release the layers, then yeah, finding a spiritual guide is beautiful. I would love to guide you. If you feel that my voice, my energy, my vibration we have a soul contract to work together, then reach out, book a free discovery call. Like I said, I've never offered a discount like this on this podcast. So, I actually haven't got around to it. I've been meaning to even increase my prices, but you know what? I'll give you a 10% discount on the mentorship or whatever. And, we'll work out a way of making it work. I love what I get to do. But like I said, I'm not here to fix anybody. And this is my question to you is like, are you spending time getting to know this new version of you? Are you reducing the clutter? Are you ready to shine your light unconditionally? Do you still put everybody else ahead of you? You're important. You need to set an example, put you first. You need to look inside, because the thing is that our physical body is such a natural channel. Muscle testing. It's like, if you have a question, if you ask yourself, internally, there's so many different methods of muscle testing. You look it up, but just naturally, how does it make you feel? Especially if you speak it out. If you can speak it out naturally, how does it make you feel in your vocal cords? How does it feel inside? You get a nudge. This really is a time to trust your intuition, to trust your physical body, to accept that you're a powerful being, and to stop giving your power away. So often we're like, if something happens to us, we spend, oh my God, I need to understand the reason for this. I need to go on this journey of really, and you should, right? You should, if something happens to you, you should ask, well, what is it teaching me? But sometimes we integrate the lesson without needing to know the answer. It's the human that wants to know all the answers. It's the human that wants to know what the next 5 steps is. And by the way, we need the human, we need the ego to go on the journey with us. So I'm not asking you to discount the human. I'm asking to take the human on the journey with you, to talk to your ego, I've said this before, give your ego a name. Have a conversation and tell it you don't need saving. Again, my consistent message is you're a powerful being. In this journey, the spiritual journey of looking for answers, maybe it's time to stop and just listen to you, to feel your energy, feel your vibration. You know, sometimes we're always looking for answers outside and really it's because if we stopped and had a conversation with ourselves and truly felt our own energy, we'd realize that in some ways we've abandoned ourselves. We spent so long training ourselves that, you know, we've got so much work to do and the answers outside of ourselves that we've stopped listening to who we are. And through these 400 episodes, and by the way, I love it. You know, some people message me and they say, I've gone back to episode 1, I've listened to all 400 and all that. You're guided to whichever episode you need to listen to. And, you know, I always try and make every episode timeless. So yes, I'm talking about the Eclipse season and, you know, Lionsgate. But whenever you listen to this, it's perfect because my message is deeper than that. My message, and really what I'm talking to you at a soul level. And it blows my mind that I recorded 400 episodes. The numbers, you know, the fact I'm in the global top 2%, whatever that means. But more importantly, the DMs I get of the impact this podcast has. And actually, you know, I get so many kind ones too. I know there's been issues with my volume over guest volumes over the last few episodes, and I'm trying to fix that. But people tell me and give me that sort of feedback too. And, you know, it's beautiful because they're trying to help. And I think it's just great. It's such a loving energy and a vibration and, you know, if you're a regular listener, welcome back. Thank you. And if you're new, welcome. I'd love to hear from you. And my other question is, are you trying to be something for somebody else? Are you trying to be the person that you feel other people need to be? And be honest with yourself. Because again, you are who you are. And if you feel like you need to change yourself to be with somebody else, that's not natural. So again, when I ask you to look at the people in your world, it's a time for you to be authentic. And what does that even mean? But unless you have that honest conversation with yourself about what do you want? What are the things you like doing? What are the things that lift your soul? Who are the people that lift your soul? When you start to have an honest conversation with yourself, and if you don't like spending time with you, then there's definitely some deep conversation you need to have with yourself. Because if you don't want to spend time with you, why would anybody else want to spend time with you? And if you look through, I mean, this podcast has been going, like I said, for nearly 6 years. Take a look back at the last few years of how much you've been through, how hard you fought for this version of you. Have you taken time to just stop and get to know this new version of you? To really ask yourself, what does this version of you want? What does this version of you really enjoy doing? There's a big difference between finding yourself and trusting yourself. Maybe for all these years we've been trying to find ourselves. And maybe it's time to truly trust yourself. Trust your intuition. Trust your physical body. Trust that you're important and you needed and you wanted. Accept this is a time to trust you. This is a time to trust your physical body. This is a time to trust your intuition. And again, there's so many episodes where I've talked about trusting your intuition. Your intuition, you know, channeled message, trusting your intuition, seeing things, hearing things. It's all part of connecting. For me, it's all part of connecting with your guides. And it does start with your intuition. And typically your intuition is quieter, it's more gentle. It's your ego that's loud, that feels like it needs to be heard. Your intuition is normally quieter. So when you ask yourself a question, what's that quiet voice telling you? And the more you start trusting your quiet voice, the more it grows. And I know people get frustrated with guides and things like that. It's like, because people want to see things, they want to hear things. But if you feel things, trust that. If you see things, great. It all counts. It's our expectations that sometimes keeps us stuck. That's what I was saying earlier. It's like, I feel like we've gone through phases of closing karmic cycles and doing all this healing and this ancestral and personal healing, but sometimes it's our expectations that keeps us stuck. It's not necessarily the karma we bring in. It's like where we expected ourselves to be. Or maybe it's an expectation of, knowing who your guides are, being able to see them, being able to hear them. I know some of my guides in terms of, some that have been human, they've turned into guides. I don't know the names of all of them. Sure, I recognize some of the ascended beings and all that sort of stuff, but I'm never focused on, I need to know their names, because does it matter? I feel like some of my guides that have not been human, I probably can't even pronounce the name anyway. So again, I say this is why I'm saying come back to you, but come back to your soul level. Please understand, I'm not asking you to go backwards, because you can't. Maybe the version of you that you're thinking, I really want to get back to who I was then. Maybe you felt so much more energized and you felt so much more connected. But if you hadn't gone through what you've been through over the last few years, all the healing, all the fighting for who you are, you wouldn't be this version of who you are now. And that version of you that maybe you look at with rose-tinted glasses wouldn't be able to go through what you've been through. And isn't the version that you need for this next phase. Who you are in this moment is exactly who you need to be going through this next phase. And I talk a lot about switching from divine masculine to divine feminine, and kind of like we all have masculine and feminine energy in us, but I feel like this shift is the planet shifting at a level that we've never felt before. And I feel like Gaia has a plan. I feel like this shift has been planned for centuries. I feel like there's so many planets near us supporting us that this is a beautiful time and a blessed time to be on this planet. I get it doesn't always feel like that, because we've picked some intense human experiences. But if you take a step back and all these challenges you've been through, and you really ask yourself, how much have I grown through this? What have I learned? What are my biggest lessons through my most painful experiences? What are you holding on to? I know there's been consistent message through this episode in the last few, but the biggest thing I want you to do is know and accept you're exactly where you're meant to be. Know and accept that you're a powerful being. And maybe you don't feel it. And I'm sure some of you are also saying, I've got so much work to do. We've all got so much work to do. This is the whole human experience. It's about going through the human experience. It's about being present. It's about feeling magic in this moment. If you could close your eyes and just allow yourself to breathe, just feel the energy and the vibration of who you are. And what's the one thing you're most grateful for in this moment? And don't make it generic. Make it an experience you've had. Make it a conversation you recently had. Make it a deep connection and if it's a person, then what do you love about the person? What's the last loving conversation that you've had? Get emotional over it. Maybe you got to stop asking, who am I supposed to become? And maybe you become, and you are the person you are in this moment. What if you accept that you're amazing already? And again, I'm sure there's conversations happening in your head. It's like, well, I've still got this and that. I mean, I'm this and that, whatever way you judge yourself. And the other question to ask is, when you're judging yourself, which version of you are you judging? Because the other thing we do is we judge old versions of ourselves because we're so used to judging ourselves in that way. And again, I talk about this before. I'm not telling you not to use your birth chart and all the rest of it, but don't use it as a weapon against you. Don't say, "Oh, I'm a this star sign and I'm always been like this." I'm an Aries as a sun sign, and when I was in the corporate space, that made a lot of sense. But I'm so much more than an Aries sun sign. Even if you just look at my birth chart, which for me, the birth chart is it's kind of the human journey. So again, the language you use on yourself is so, so important. It gives you so many clues. And of course, this journey continues. But you don't have to leave yourself behind to take it. You are important. You are on this journey, which is all about you. And I come back and ask you again, what are you waiting for? Are you truly experiencing this human experience, or are you fighting it? I am so blessed with this podcast, and it's like when I think of 400 episodes, it kind of blows my mind. But this podcast wouldn't be where it is today without you guys. So I really, truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, each and every one of you. I hope you felt the love through this. Whatever came through, came through. And I'm always trying to be gentle with you guys, but I'm always trying to nudge you and push you. And again, hopefully you felt that. And do reach out. If you feel that something resonated and something came from this episode, let me know. Send me a DM. Tell me what your favorite part is. Tell me what your most difficult part is. Tell me what you loved about it. What the thing that challenged you? I'd love to hear from you guys. I'd love to receive DMs or whatever email, whatever form you want to send. And actually, while I think about it, if you listen to this on Monday or even Tuesday, I have a beautiful membership. So the next membership call is going to be on the 11th, so it's Tuesday, right before the beginning of the Eclipse. And you know what? That call is normally a 90-minute call. And I talk through this current energy at a deeper level and have journal prompts. I produce a PDF which really explains this current energy. It's normally 9 or 10 pages. The call is normally 90 minutes. If you join the next day or two, then join that call. Get information about what this phase is going to mean. And by the way, every call is recorded and you have access to previous calls and all that sort of stuff. But again, if you're looking for a beautiful, safe space and you want to be part of something, then join that community. You get a different level of access to me. I have a WhatsApp group and, it's always very active. So much love and support. But the thing I love most is mentorship. I love to work with people one-to-one. Hold your space. Guide you to you. Guide you to the superpower of who you are and the energy and the vibration. I love what I get to do. I love this podcast. I love the fact it's got to 400 episodes. And by the way, I thanked you guys, but also, Stace, who I feel it's going to be in the next Monday's episode. But again, this podcast won't be where it is today without Stace, without the beautiful other guests that joined and your support. And, as I close this episode, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for everyone that's supported me. Thank you for everyone that's on the journey. Thank you for everyone that's allowed me to hold your space. Feeling very, very blessed and sending you so much love and light. This is such a beautiful time to be on this planet. And I truly hope you feel that. I hope you felt the love from this episode. I hope you feel the love from your guides. I hope you feel held and supported by so many different elements. And if the humans in your life are not doing that, then, maybe it's time to make some changes. Sending you all so, so much love and light. Take care. Be back soon. Bye for now.